All right. My name is Joe Monteleone. I am a bona fide misfit, modern mystic, and master tarot reader teacher. And I am here with Purim King, the amazing, legendary Purim King, who I'm finally releasing to my public social media self. Purim King is one of my most finest kept secrets. She is a master energy healer, tarot reader, therapist, author, coach, and a million and one other things. And I'm super excited to introduce everyone on my channel and my social media. And I'm super excited to introduce everyone to Purim. So, hi, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Joe, a master tarot reader and teacher and coach.
Yes.
Very, very honored to be here with you.
Very happy to have you. So I guess we should start with the beginning, because the beginning was the most, it's just such a cool story. So do you want to tell it, or do you want me to tell it?
So actually, I'm thinking of another story, and I probably will mess it up. But there is this old man playing at the organ in a church, and this young man says, "Wow, this is so beautiful." And I don't remember who the old man is, but they're both masters and of music. One may be Beethoven, and the other, I don't know who is earlier than whom, but I'm terrible with these things. But you have surpassed your master, and I want you to know that. So yeah.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to hear. I don't believe so, but thank you. So yeah, the way I met Purim, it's so magical. And when I was younger, my favorite place was the Renaissance Fair. I went there when I was like 13 years old or so. And I remember going there several years ago and just thinking in my mind, this is where I need to work, and just trusting the universe and knowing this is where I had to work. And I'm walking through the psychic alley, the Mystic's Way. You remember this, right? and so the last psychic to the left was this woman, and I look over and she looks at me and we lock eyes, and she says to me, without me saying a word, do you remember what you said? You said,
are you a tarot reader?
Yes.
Do you want to work for me? I don't know.
Purim said, you read tarot, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do. How'd you know? And then she said, okay, come over here. So I come and sit down, and she's like, read my cards. So I'm like, okay. And then I pull out my cards, I read her cards. And then in a couple minutes, she looks at me and says, you're hired. I'm like, what? And like, she's like, do you want to work here? And I'm like, yes, how'd you know? It was one of the most magical moments of my life. And then I started working with Purim and learning more about tarot and learning more about people and energy and all types of things. And she became my mentor and my coach. And then it just evolved from there. But yeah.
I just want to say that your audience probably knows your eyes, even though they're kind of obscured right now, or you're too far away. But you look at your eyes and you know he's a seer. You just can't help it but knowing it. And I think that's why your audience is so attracted to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. So, because you knew that I was a reader just by looking at me.
Yeah.
That's so cool. But Purim's also tremendously psychic, very intuitive. And one thing that just amazes me about Purim is she always knows what is going on. Like, whether she knows it in detail or not, she can always get a sense of exactly what's going on. Like, she can read you like the back of a candy bar, but not in an intimidating way, in a very gentle way. So that's definitely one of her many superpowers. So yeah, I have a couple questions. Purim has a very interesting life and has gotten involved in a lot of things, but I want to kind of turn it over to you. And I want to ask you, Purim, what got you into the magical world? What got you out of the Muggle world and into the world of healing, energy, spirituality, tarot, all these things?
So I have a long story and a short version. Which one you want?
Oh yeah, you can give the long version.
So I used to have bad asthma and eczema, eczema. And I spent most of my childhood until the age of 14 in institutions for 6 kids. And when I was 5 or 6, I was in a hospital, and there was this woman doctor who had polio, and something about her was different. And I literally remember myself sitting in a corner, like on the bed, which was in the corner, and thinking to myself, I want to be a doctor, but not like them. And for the next 15, 16 years, that was my slogan. And I would tell it to anybody that wanted to know that I will be a doctor, but not like them. And then came time to go to school. And I applied to only one. I was in Israel. I applied to the Jerusalem University, which was the most hard to get in. And most of my friends, some went to dental school, some went to biology, some got accepted, some went to Italy and other places to learn. I just gave up. I said, oh, it wasn't meant to be anyway. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be like them. So I gave it up. And this is where the search began. I call it the search. And I think a lot of your audience and my people know that search. It's that longing for something, but not knowing what it is and trying to figure out where we fit. And it's like this feeling of a misfit and somehow lacking something, or like my highest aspiration for a number of years was to be hired. I couldn't get a job anywhere. Literally, nobody will hire me. So everything I ever done, I have self-created, because I either had to create the money and the work, or there was none. And so for years there was this. So I was basically a salesperson working as an independent salesperson. And when I was a Mary Kay consultant for 7 years, and I had won the car, and I had a team, and I finally got the grail of Mary Kay, which is I became a director, which is actually quite an accomplishment. And I worked for it 7 years, and I was so excited. And I went to Dallas for a training, and I froze. And it was like, this is not it. It's like something happened, and I was in that serene place of, this is not it. And I left and went home and literally let my work of 7 years drain through my fingers. And then about a month and a half later, I had a day where series of people showed up, one of whom I believe was an angel, not with wings. But I mean, whoever asks you to refer, stranger on the street asks you to refer for a dentist. I have never seen that before or after, and I've been in 3 continents. So it doesn't happen. Anyway, somebody came to exchange new age kind of pendant, and he said, oh, you have to go to Barbara Brennan School of Healing. I'm gonna plug Barbara Brennan too. And then somebody else came and said the same thing. Actually, someone that I was seeing as a therapist said the same thing. And then this man in the afternoon, because I had terrible sciatica, I could not walk. And by the way, resisting your passion creates more and more pain. It's like ignoring the red light in an airplane and saying, oh, I don't care that the engine is blinking. Oh, I don't care that it's blinking. And eventually it's like, pew. So the end of the evening, I go to a friend of mine who goes to a pile of papers, and she pulls out a double fold, and that is an article of about Barbara Brennan doing channeling. I had no idea. I knew nothing about. I thought that you have to go to South America to the woods and be a shaman assistant for 10 years before you can be a healer. I didn't have a clue that there were schools. And speaking of, there was an instant before that where I heard then what's his name? Dyer. Dyer. Anyway, talking about a healer, and like I literally skipped a bit. So there was a series of coincidences, miracles, call it whatever. She had an application, my girlfriend. We called the next day, the day that I found the brochure and everybody told me you should go. Barbara Brennan decided to move her school from Long Island to my backyard in Vernon, New Jersey, which made it very possible for me to go. And she also opened an introduction workshop, which was a requirement the day that they had a meeting before I called them. So when I called, they knew that the school is moving and that I can apply for the introduction workshop. Both me and my girlfriend applied. I got in, she didn't. And the school was in my backyard for the 4 years that the program goes. However, I'm a genius, so I failed in year 2. And I teach, I teach to ask what's good about it that I'm not getting. And so one of the things is like, first of all, I had number of schooling where I gave up at my second year. And I had to deal with feelings of shame and not deserving and I had to overcome it. And the more I looked at what I really want, the more it was to go back to where I am, That was one benefit, but the other benefit was like show that you really mean that you're here, like the universe will test you sometimes. The other thing is that by having to go for 5 years, the school moved to Florida. And for the first time, I allowed myself to leave the family, tell the ex that, he was my husband then, that he's responsible for his children while I'm gone. I gave him the dates, and it literally expanded the possibility of me traveling and moving as they choose. So that was, and there were more, like the money was there, and there was coincidences with other people, and there were so many stories. And what's really amazing is it wasn't just my story. Because we shared those stories in the school, there was that, oh my God, everybody had a story. And that's what happens when you connect to your passion and follow your longing.
Wow, that's amazing. So
that's the long story.
I love that so much. So do you have any advice for other people out there that are on the search, that feel that longing, but are hit with the normal distractions and day-to-day things do you have any advice for them on how can they speed up or be more in alignment with themselves to find something like you did?
So in that respect, I was my therapist, the one person, one of the 3 people or 4 people, she told me after I signed up that she had mentioned it to me beforehand, the school. And I swear, like it went right over my head. I don't have a memory of her saying anything like that. And so I believe that when the timing is right, and when when your heart skips a beat, or when you can't go to sleep because you're so excited and so determined, you will find your teacher. Like I believe that we all have the people we are drawn to for a reason. And yeah, and following that calling, I believe that we all get there, whatever that there is. The there is we are here on a journey, and we have personally designed our own journeys, the difficulties and the fun stuff, and really the old souls. I'm putting it parentheses, but the old souls know that they can. So we pile on ourselves stuff like disease and this just to prove that we can do it and heal it, um and so, and it's one way. It doesn't have to be we don't have to pile not that much, but I really believe that sooner or later we awake, and everybody does it when their time is right and there is no pressure. But it's so much more fun. One of the big differences is that when I was younger, I believed that if you knew me, really knew me, you will leave me, or you won't like me, or you won't really. And that has changed as I grew up. I now know that to know me is to love me. And it's true for each and every person. Because when we really, the journey is really inward towards who you are. And not so much, we need to look at the ugliness, and again, in parentheses, because underneath really is the beauty of who you are, the love and the caring and the creativity. And we are more afraid of that. I mean, I don't know if you know people that cry when you give them a compliment. You know, you tell them how you see them, and they get teary because they don't believe it about themselves. And for you, it's obvious. And so I call these people my people, your people, and I invite them. I have a program, right? It's starting tomorrow, called Psychic Mastery Academy, and it is an accelerated program that's not. We do deal with angels and tarot and divination, but that is only a small part. That's your teaching. I teach more about healing and awareness and how to manage your energy when you're alone and when you're not alone, and how to be centered within oneself. Does that answer you the question? Because I forgot the question.
Yeah, totally. And just to emphasize that, so many times Purim has showed me or taught me something energetically, or taught me a tool that has really completely changed my world. And it's like tools that I use all the time, in all different like situations that have changed how I run my business, my emotional awareness, my emotional stability, how I approach relationships. Like it's all so connected. And yeah, it's amazing. So I definitely recommend checking out the program, Psychic Mastery Academy. But yeah, this is so much fun. I actually want to ask you, because you've compared Barbara Brennan School to Hogwarts. So I want to ask you, what were a couple of the most defining or memorable moments for you at that school?
Ooh. So so first of all, if you guys have seen the movies, Harry Potter was nobody living under the stairs, and he was totally frustrated with the world, and he could not properly communicate. He was lonely. He was isolated. He was. That was my feeling before the school, for the most part, and it wasn't under the stairs per se, but in the closet for sure. And then going to Barbara Brennan was the second time that my eyes opened. The first was when I left the communist Bulgaria and went to the West. But the second one was when I entered Barbara Brennan. It just was like another veil has moved off my from in front of me. When you go to Barbara Brennan, you don't get a wand, but you learn the magic of manipulating energy. And that can be used for good and bad, just like in Harry Potter. So they have the wand, but you can do that with your hands, with your intention, with your manipulating your own aura and how it relates to the sea of energy that we float in. And so it was very funny because at some point while I was in school, I was invited to an auction of cars. And there were some people, you will like that are probably Kabbalists. They were Jewish, Orthodox, and I noticed, because I do speak Hebrew, and they were doing white magic, protecting this one car that they have decided about, and they bought it. But they made it invisible to other people, and you can do that. I actually made my first office invisible, and then I had to uninvisible it to undo it because people were literally standing in front of it and couldn't see it. It was so funny. So yeah, there is tricks you can do. So you can do, I don't know what the word for invisible, like the clock and stuff, but there is, so you learn to use the tools of the trade. And they're neutral. So just like in Harry Potter, you can take them for self-serving and they will work for a while, but it will backfire eventually. Or you can do it for the higher good of all, and then it benefits everybody.
Cool. So you've worn many hats. I know you're a licensed clinical social worker. On top of it, energy healer. You're a coach. You've worked with Mary Kay. How has your other professions informed what you do today, and how are they different or support each other?
So when I decided I'm not going to go to medical school, I was accepted to accounting school, and which is very wrong for me. I'm dyslexic, and doing math by hand is not. However, I learned the theory, or some of the theory. I did 2-year studies. Like I said, I quit after 2 years, many things. So I had learned accounting is very important for business management, how to plan budgets and how to manage money, very important. I also learned, I took a year course of promotions and advertisement. I also worked as an editor in the old days, not when you could do it on Apple, but on the bigger machines, and worked for a while as an editor. But there is no knowledge that like I use actually, if not the actual skill, because some of them we are changing so fast, technology and everything, that what I knew how to do as an editor is so obsolete nowadays, at least for the most part, that it's non-existent. It's like I don't know, like typewriter that's gone from the world, right? But we still type. But what was really, I believe that everything you do, everything that happens for a reason, good or bad. Whether we see it as a good thing or a bad thing, it always moves us forward. Sometimes it pushes us into the lake, but it pushes us forward, and so we learn to swim. And intention is very important, and this is the basic. It's very funny. It took 4 years to get to the place where they teach us intention in Barbara Brennan, and I find that if you learn this part, you can almost skip the other part. So that's why I'm doing a school that's accelerated teaching, because today things are going so fast. And I believe that I can teach what I learned over the 20 some years in a year, and certify people to do the work that they choose to do, because it's not a school that says, oh, you're going to be a healer. You might become an artist, you may become a tarot reader or a teacher or inventor. It's not necessarily a school of healing per se, but it is a school of bringing your creativity out and learning how to manipulate the energy.
Cool. I love that so much. Oh, I have so many questions. What do you find, you've been working with people healing both in an energetic standpoint, but also from like a clinical standpoint too, as a social worker. What do you find is some of the most common problems that people are going through that either hold them back or that they need help on?
Problems in the practice of healing?
Just problems in general, because one thing that I've noticed from you is you're so good at getting to the root of the problem, even though it might show up to someone in so many other ways. What would you say is that common denominator you say that is most people's generic problem or issue?
So today, it's becoming, or at least in the circles that we are talking to, it's becoming a general knowledge that there is a correlation between spirit, body, and mind. And I don't want to talk bad about social work, but really I went to social school just to get a diploma, like the in the Wizard of Oz, like the Tin Man, not the Tin Man, the crow, the scarecrow.
The scarecrow. Oh, to get the brain, quote unquote.
Yeah, to get the brain.
Oh,
because I didn't value my knowledge, or society didn't value it. I did not really learn that much in social school. Well, when I was in my Barbara Brennan's teaching, we were required to go to therapy. And I went to regular therapists because I had insurance. And after the first semester, from the 4 years, the first semester, they couldn't touch me, because you can only help people to the extent that you are evolved. You can't take them beyond where you've gone. And so I developed superiority complex of being better. But I'm humbled by now. I think there is some of that also in the Harry Potter movie, where we're the wizards and they're the muggles, but there are some wizardy muggles too. And so I've been humbled. However, when you work with energy, it can move things forward very quickly. But consciousness or awareness is important too, because just as you can fix something energetically, if the consciousness or the idea that's holding it blocked or broken or unsupportive of you, if that is still there, you can recreate the difficulty. And usually when people recreate it, they make it a little, up it up a little bit, you know. It's like, if you can't hear me the first time, I'm gonna scream louder. So it's very important to balance the awareness and the energy, and there is a certain amount of settlement of it. It's, if you think about mixing a dough and needing to let it rest, there is some resting period within the energy, which is becoming shorter, but it's still there. There is a resting period that's necessary. So it's not like a pill. For the most part, there is certain things that it works like a pill. And some people have used me as a emergency medicine, but there is a settling of energy in maturity, and that takes time. So my program, my pilot program, which I'm starting tomorrow, is only 12 weeks, which is enough for a lot to settle, but not enough for the full embodiment of self-healership. So for that reason, I will then create a redo the program if we're successful for a year-long period.
So who do you think would best benefit from this program? Because it does sound really awesome. There's a lot to it. Yeah.
The people that can't afford it.
The people that can't afford it.
The people that can afford it. The people who can find their place in the world, who feel burned out, who feel frustrated and discouraged by their lives. And what I want to say to them is that if they choose it, which is different than affording it, if they choose it, if they make a decision that when I heard that day when 4 people came, immediately after the 4 people, I knew that I have to go to this school or I will be dead. Like, I did not want to live another day without the way it has been. It's something in me knew that there is a better way and I have to go that way. Or it was waste of my time to live here. It was like this or that and nothing in between. I'm not doing it halfway. And I think that decision or that passion, or call it whatever, is what helped me overcome my mind and go back to repeat the second year, which was the best year in the whole school. My second year repeating it was the best experience. It was the biggest gift I got from the school. And so the people who can afford it, here's the catch-22 is that if you can afford it, if you choose to choose it, and the money will show up. I know that people, like strangers, like neighbors that have given people money, that people found relatives that gave them place to stay and whatever. There is so many ways for us to find the resources, and when we make a decision, and it's like with a determination, with tenacity, when we really burn the bridge behind us, the universe swirls behind you when you make that decision and will support you in whatever way is necessary. One of the things that for all the years that I have worked, sometimes for 20 minutes with people as a tarot reader, and sometimes for few sessions or many sessions, there is not one person, literally not one person, that didn't achieve what they wanted, made more money than they paid me, and changed their world for the better. There is not one person that said, "You ruined my life," or I don't. And that includes, it's because I I have a certain sense of certainty. That includes people that came to the fair, for example, and they were supposed to, like, I'm starting a class tomorrow. They were supposed to marry the next day, and I told them that they are not going to marry, and they didn't. And they didn't come to say, "You ruined my life." They came and said, "Oh, thank you so much." So so that's my, I don't know, but that the people who can't sleep after they hear it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I just have to say, like, I started working with Purim over a year ago. I think we're at like a year and a half or 2 years now. We've been working together in different capacities. And since I've met Purim and started working with her and like learning from her and incorporating everything, my life has completely changed. And it's interesting that you brought up money, because I used to be very afraid of money. And, you know, I thought that money is evil. Of course it's evil. It means greed and capitalism and all this horrible stuff. And now I have a business I'm doing what I love, and I'm helping over 100 people now in several different countries, help them do what they love. And it's the best feeling in the world. And we all make money. It's like amazing. So Purim helped me change my points of view about what money is, and helped me realize that it really is just energy. But there are these moments in our life where I call them like a pattern interrupt, where someone or something comes in your life and they like offer you the next level, and we always have that moment of like, oh, but if I go on to the next level, I'll leave this comfortable smaller level behind, and I don't know what's going to happen in the big level, and it's always a risk. Even in the tarot, the first deacon of the zodiac is ruled by Mars, which is a destructive planet. You have to destroy something to create something. And just to connect it Kabbalistically, in the beginning of the Sefer Yetzirah, it says God engraved to create the universe. There's this removal, there's this risk, there's this like unknown moment before things really start to accelerate and the magic happens. And I've had so many of those even in the past couple of years, and they've gotten me to places I never thought I'd be. So yeah, I definitely recommend, if you're feeling called to Purim's program, Psychic Mastery Academy, definitely look into it and maybe make the choice you never thought you'd make that would change all reality and all non-reality and create more fun than you ever knew was possible.
I just want to say that everything that I love you, Joe, but you're so esoteric. and I love it, and it goes like right over my head, even though I know a lot of the stuff. And I just want to say that this is not what I teach. No esoteric. It's all grounded and practical and usable. So you are not gonna get esoteric. It's all Joe. Go to Joe.
Yeah.
But practicality and really based in science, and I believe in science with parentheses around them, but it's really like how to change your life into something bigger and more like, I love this quote: live a life that's worth telling about it, that's worth writing about it. And that is what would like for my students to live a life that is worth writing about. And about money again, energy is neutral. It's neither good nor bad, but can be used. And it's an evidence in our world of what we attract. A lot of times the money flows to, not always, because some, I mean, if you watch the movie, the Grid, or whatever it's called, on television, there is a series about American greed. So sometimes money flows to you in the wrong way, and eventually that stops or backfires. But there is a certain, I think that what I promise in my program, and please maybe you can share the link for the program, but what I promise is peace, ability to make decisions, ability to manipulate the energy for the better good of all, possibly the ability to be a healer, definitely the ability to know your own strength and use them productively for yourself, and choose a path that is empowering you and is flowing from you. But money is something that we create. We don't take it from other people. We generate the flow.
I love that. And yeah, I wanna emphasize that again, that I can spin in circles around esotericism, but one thing that I love so much about Purim is that everything that you will learn from Purim it's very spiritual, but it's so practical. So if you want better relationships, more money, more joy, like all just very normal life things, Purim has helped me with all that. And I've read so many books. I've read every self-help book under the sun, every esoteric book. I'm constantly pulling books from my library, but I've got to say, yeah, Purim, it's so practical, it's so grounded, and it's so functional, and it helps the people around you as well, because I found that working with Purim has increased my level of consciousness and my awareness, which just by proximity has increased that of people around me. Speaking of, one quick plug, if you want to, actually, yeah, if you want to share with everyone where people can find you, and also where people, if they want to order your book, which is amazing.
All right,
I'll link all the stuff below.
Okay, if people, I have the book. This is the book, but here is the good thing. I'm giving that as the bonus to people who sign up. And I believe you can download it for not much money or no money on Amazon, Kindle, something or other. But it's on Amazon. It's not easy to find because I have not advertised it, and it's from 2015, I believe. Anyway, but you will get a copy with the registration. This is a free gift for my clients who don't have the book. Some of them do. The Psychic Academy, you know what, I am on my phone, so I will give you the link, or you have the link. Can you post it? Because it's Psychic Mastery Academy, and I'm on Facebook. You can also look for me on Facebook. I'm Purim King, and there is, I believe, only one of me, so it's easy to find me. And if not, you can always approach Joe and find it through Joe, I guess. Is that okay, Joe?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with before you wrap up?
Actually, there is. I don't know if you guys are listening to the news. And here is one way we can manipulate the universe. So I'm talking specifically to what's happening in Europe, between Russia and Ukraine. But if you're actually paying attention, there is a lot of other stuff happening that's not in Russia and Ukraine, but it's in the Far East between India, China, and North Korea. And it looks a lot like what was happening before World War II. And I wasn't there, or at least don't remember that don't have that awareness, but I have the awareness that maintaining inner peace and not giving our emotional energy towards the news speeding 24 hours, and instead of hating people, which is the tool of war, love Putin and put him in a bubble of love and awareness. And this is an advice I give to people who have found their wife cheating or their boyfriend cheating, and they're angry and want to kill them. and I recommend that they bless them with love and light. And so if we can ask, we're dating this video by this, but if we can ask for people to surround the leaders of the world, as well as the leaders of financial empires, by which I mean corporations, international corporations and banks, surround them. We don't have to know their names or whatever, just send them bubbles of love and awareness and put them in that. And by doing that, we may create a balance in the world where war will not be necessary, or a global war will not be necessary. So maintaining inner peace and sending love out is my wish. And thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. And yes, I will do it again.
Yay, cool. I would love to have you again. That will be fun. So yeah, I'll link everything down below to connect with Purim, to connect with my stuff. I highly, highly recommend Purim's program. I highly recommend working with her if you get the chance. It really is the magical game changer she is. I can't stress that enough. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next wormhole.
And don't you have a program coming too?
Yes, I do have a program.
You should mention it because it's amazing.
Oh yeah, I am teaching another Thoth Tarot Master course. So if you do want to really get into the Thoth deck and Aleister Crowley and all of that esoteric stuff, you know, I do have a start date, but it's not in front of me. But it's going to happen within the next couple months or so. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, that's a whole wormhole in itself. But definitely reach out to me about that. Yeah, lots of new things, lots of fun stuff, and yeah, we're both just turning lead into gold right and left.
Yay! Alchemy.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for watching. Much love.